Alright, so I have a game between Lee Cheng-ho here. Actually, I have two games between Lee Cheng-ho. I hope to get through them both, especially because I think they're amusing in ways that I won't go into just yet. This first one, though, is, I won't say very quick, but it's reasonably quick. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the headset I don't need, and go through this game fairly quickly. As you can see, Cheng Ho is white. Chinese player Sun Li, whose rank I forget, is black. And since it's a modern game, I don't think anyone is even going to blink at the low Chinese being, at the low Chinese being played. That is very much in style, as I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. The Orthodox is beginning to creep its head into games again. Now, low Chinese, we all know that what black wants you to do is go ahead and approach the 3-4 stone. Why? Because you are pincered. If you are pincered, and if it is black's turn, chances are you are at a disadvantage. Knowing that he would be at a disadvantage, white approaches very, very carefully from the other side, forces black to go ahead and enclose, ending the low Chinese Fuseki. Now we have extension and enclosure. Easy to look up how to reduce that. I've mentioned that many, many times, so I'm not going to go into a bunch of variations there. We'll go ahead and say white takes his base, and now black has to decide where the larger moves are. Approaching unfinished 3-4 stones is typically a nice way to continue up, but as we can see from the 4-4 stones, we do not have such a stone. Nor does black have one of his own. Only had one 3-4 stone, that's now enclosed, other one is 4-4. Nor does he have a framework, as I just mentioned. He's now got an enclosure with an extension, so he could really go off and do just about whatever he wanted to do here. He decides to go ahead, move tool, there we are. He decides to go ahead and enclose his 4-4 stone. R9 does act like a little bit of an extension here, so that's cool. Nice little large move. White's got the choice. Do I want to go ahead and maybe make a Sanrin-sei, or something more territorially oriented, or maybe reduce in one of many, many different ways. White decides to go ahead and take some more territory for himself, ensures that black cannot approach and extend. If he was to go ahead and play this way, for example, it'd be playable, but, you know, now black's going to get extensions off his 4-4 enclosure on both the right and top side, so that's kind of good for black. Getting heavily into a framework game. Black follows up by approaching, and this is where things get interesting, because white decides to go ahead and play heavily for points here. Did not go ahead and play this, which would, oops, that would be dumb, don't play that. Did not go ahead and play here, which would have led to another simple Jiseki. He decided to go ahead and undercut black and take a lot of corner territory for himself, giving black a bunch of options, and where this game starts to get fun. Because black can go ahead and approach, black can go ahead and back off in, you know, whatever way he seems to want to. Might even be able to play a little bit faster, see if he can get B15 working for himself and some more stones on the left-hand side, take that for himself. All of these seem to be fairly possible. But he takes a large extension away, which I'm sure you all inherently know the problem with. What is the problem with extending so far away? It can be common fraud with. It does indeed have a weakness around C, or what? Yeah, around C8. It does indeed. As Rubicon probably mentioned, same idea as fraud with is loose, which means we aren't expecting this to get territory for ourselves. We're probably expecting more along the lines of influence, because we've got this little weakness here, which will probably go ahead and link up underneath, giving black just influence, where white's taking some territory. However, it's also undercut, a fact white points out immediately. So now he's undercut, and he has the C8 stone there. So at this point, if we were watching the game live, we would probably begin trying to guess which way black's going to defend. Is he going to maybe drop down to, I don't know, C10? Is he going to jump up to E6? You know, how is he going to protect his stones here? Because as even 6Qs can point out, you're vulnerable here. You're undercut. You've got a weak point that white can obviously exploit to now connect back in two different directions. So we would be thinking, how should we defend this? And even Rubicon says we should probably go ahead and play something local. Play something local. Though, as he also mentioned, it's not a very good idea, because if you play a small knight, you're probably going to get cut, and give your opponent 6-line territory, something he'd be very, very happy to get. But, as I mentioned, this game wouldn't be very fun if something interesting didn't happen, and that interesting thing is black decides to go ahead and shoulder hit for reduction. So now the game takes an interesting turn. We've got a weak group here that can fall under attack, but we've also got a shoulder hit against our third line stone, which is kind of severe if we ignore it. So this is starting to strike us as a bit of a forcing move. I think the last thing we want to do is play elsewhere and allow black to drop down, hurt our two stones, turn the attack back on us. And I'll go ahead and show you that right now, actually. Why not? Let's assume white did something like this. We're not going to get scared and run away. What we would do is we would turn around and drop down, because this stone, it's not very strong anymore at K3. If white continues to try to be crazy and keep attacking us, we'll just kind of look at him funny and either kill off his stone, make it really, really low, or connect under, get our base for ourselves, and wonder why this weak attack is even on the board. That does not seem like something a pro would be doing. So instead, white obviously responds. Black threatens to go ahead and come down again, and we see black's plan. If white does not break through now, and let's say continues trying to cut through, maybe, I don't know, this way or this way, then this is just kind of pushing all of black's groups together. He's getting shape in the center for himself, while white's just going to go ahead and connect. So that seems interesting. That seems like a very interesting idea. A quick way of getting his little weak group that he had out halfway across the board. Unfortunately, white is not going to allow that connection. He understands quite readily the value of keeping two groups separated. And he's not going to let this chance pass to do just that. He's going to do everything he can to ensure they stay nice and separate. That way they have to continue trying to look for eye shape. And as long as they are doing that, he can attack and profit. Black follows up. White ensures that there's nothing else going to be had over there, and poke at his potential eye shape as well. Black responds. White strengthens himself, threatens to take, says no you're not, so black still needs to go and look for shape. So he turns around and leans on the weak group of whites. And if I'm going through this game kind of fast, it's also, like I mentioned, because there's another game that I want to really get to. And this one is just kind of quick and fun. A Chinese professional. White responds, cut doesn't work, all black can do is Hane. White threatens to link underneath. Black continues to get influence. And this is where another interesting sequence is played. Right here. It obviously doesn't work. So why is he trying to play it? Anyone know? Why is he obviously playing G2, a move that clearly is not going to live? I mean, we can cut that off right now. It's an Atari. It's Sente. Misclick. That's a good one. Yes, he misclicked IRL. I guess technically you could do that. I mean, what if you did accidentally drop your stone while playing a game? What would you do then? Ukasu says needs H4. Alright, Ukasus, I like that answer. Black wants H4. Why does he want H4? To make K5 not obliterate him. That is a very good reason. And now that we understand that, it is no surprise that White says, wait a minute, I am not going to make you stronger so you can protect your cuts and get influence spanning the entire board. I'm going to cut you now before you fix all that. So Black protects. And Atari. Aji. Black has to decide what he's going to do. Obviously he can't save everything. He continues to get that influence in the center. If you tried to go the other way, which you might be inclined to attempt, since that is an Atari, but unfortunately so is this, and now White's fine again. So White gets to go ahead and take the stone. Black defends, because if he goes and tries, I don't know, whatever, something else, then this is going to be Sente. Moves like this are going to be Sente. This corner is going to be severely hurting. And White is now getting away with a lot, especially since this is still on the board for later. That is entirely too much. So he defends. So now you might think, okay, now clearly we're going to go ahead and see White take the bottom. Now that he's taken taken a bit more for himself. But no, he doesn't. And I like Hyphen's idea, J5. Forget the cut. Let's go ahead and keep assaulting White. Or assaulting Black, rather. And White had the exact same idea, which is why he played something similar. he played the jump. Now, yes, there is this. Temporarily, just to get me a new variation. But this leads to something similar if black tries to cut through. There's still going to be the Atari there. So, realizing he's getting surrounded, he cuts, trying to live. White descends, ensuring that eye space here is hard to come by. Takes. Turns, because again, he needs to live. Living is, important. Threatens to take. And then goes ahead and cuts. So before cutting, he strengthened his bottom group. He strengthened his cutting stones. And then he went back and played he went into the attack again. Black takes, white throws in. This time he connects. I don't think I said threaten the kick. I think I said went back on the attack. No problem. So instead of taking, he goes ahead and connects. White keeps him in. Now, this is interesting, because we are in a life and death situation. What do you guys think of the life and death between these two groups? Is it alive, dead, Seki? Anyone have any ideas? Desan says white is alive. Broadwit says white looks dead, but his life and death is awful. Okay. That's fair enough. My life and death was awful too until I hit one down and realized I had to start studying that stuff. Well, let's take a look then. Black plays K1. White is forced to take, because if black gets to descend, then he's clearly only at one eye. Or better than descending, he could go out and also play M... whatever that is, M1, which can't be blocked. Unfortunately, this allows black to beep. Threaten that eye again. White reduces the liberty. Black decides to go ahead and take another. And now we have a problem here. Little bit of a problem here for white. It looks like we're kinda not getting our eye that we wanted to. Well, we could get an eye, but it would get rid of the rest of our liberties, and that would be a bit of a problem. So at the moment, it kinda seems that white is dead. So, what do you think? Time for Li Changhe to resign? Desan says keep with the Liberty race and get rid of those stones. Okay, I'll come back to this in a minute. Or does everyone agree with Desan? Keep playing the capture race? Ugusu says keep playing the capture race. E1 will probably be met with Q1, which you can't respond to. White has an interesting solution to this. White says, forget you all, I have influence, and there's a weak group on the left side of the board. So I'm going to go ahead and attack it. Now let's go ahead and look back at what Desan said. Desan said go ahead and get rid of this. And then go in and, what to do? Here, I guess? Can't respond to this, otherwise we're toast. So it looks like we're in trouble no matter what. So there's no reason to go ahead and play these moves. These moves right now, since we're dead, are co-threats only, as 3Q just mentioned. That's backing up too far. But there's no reason to resign the game just yet, because he's got a lot of influence, and they're this weak group. Because keep in mind, when we first began this fight, there were two weak groups. One of them is essentially, you can't call it strong as such just yet, because it's got a lot of moves left before it's captured, before it captures White and is actually alive. There's a lot of co-threats there, a lot of Aji. But there's still the other weak group that we can attack. So that's exactly what he's going to do. Considering that we all know that that black group can't go anywhere. There is no way it's going to break past K7 and escape. So it needs to live locally. So what is this group going to do? Black says, okay, I'm going to attach here for as much Aji as I can. I can't live locally. Maybe I'll live top or bottom of this position. Has any recent pro game ended quickly because of life and death? This one's going to. White says, forget you, this is my profit. Go away. Black calmly tries to reduce. Force White to protect. White gets rid of Aji. Black tries to connect everything to live. Again, very aggressive decision. He has no shape whatsoever, but he's going to try to connect up in Gote and hope that he lives. Something that isn't uncommon in our own games. White leans on it. Immediately, a fascinating move. Because even if this somehow manages to break free, White has an enclosure, a wall here which is going to extend, plus an open top that he can still obtain for himself. So he's still going to profit from this attack. If it's going to be enough, who knows, but he is going to be profiting. White decides to go up, Black decides to go up. So White ensures he's never going over. Now we have to live locally. Threatens to cut through. Tries to expand for eye shape. And then jump on up. Now, if he's right, and White can't cut, then Black might have a chance of getting out of here. But White decides to cut. Not exactly the strongest group of stones in the world, but can White hold on to them? Black chooses to Atari and connect. Obviously White's going to slice through it. Makes an eye, or threatens to. White pokes at it. And then White goes back and strengthens himself. Because with this last move, Black is really trying to live locally. So the question becomes, can he? He connects, obtaining an eye for himself for the moment anyway. White pokes out the other one. Threatens to take a stone, which white will not give up. Threatens to take another stone, which again will not be given up. And at this point, I think it's become pretty clear that black cannot live. Is there a lot of Aji there? Yeah, but it's not looking too great for black. He tries to go ahead and make this a forcing move, tries to get white to protect. That way, H9 can never be turned false. White responds defending himself. Forcing move, has to respond. Threatens to poke out. And at this point, yeah, it's pretty much over. There's nothing that black can really do. He tries for a while, as you can see here. But white just responds by strengthening himself as much as possible before going back and killing the left-hand side, which we're seeing right now. And at this point, it's, like I said, it's pretty much over. Because white's got all of those nice, lovely little forcing moves. So by the time he goes back and connects, there's no way to get eyes here. And then black is forced to resign. So there's a couple of reasons why I showed this game first. One, because it's a nice quick game that I thought was interesting, very fundamental about keeping two weak groups apart. I mean, even though white lost his stones on the bottom, he got so much strength from just assaulting one of those weak groups that he was able to still get a very nice position to attack the other one, and that was more than enough profit in order to win. It's one of the reasons why we do not like creating weak groups. But there's another reason why I wanted to go over this game. And that answer is actually going to be in the very next game, where you guys are going to get a very interesting sense of deja vu. Because in the next game, Li Cheng-ho is going to be black, and you're going to see something a little similar. So I hope you join me for that one.